Man United agenda. You are correct. We are live at 7 o'clock. It's not a figment of your imagination. But we have quite a bit to talk about. In a week, in summary, where Manchester United have been in the headlines for the wrong reasons due to a certain owner and his comments publicly, where the Glazers have been concerned about their income and the effect that he would have. Even where Sir Jim might be subject to sanction by the FA. We at the Man United agenda are going to try and spread some yabbitippity, bring the good news to you. And we are going to talk about, one, Mr. Wayne Rooney and his comments on the overlap with regards to Mr. Michael Carrick and why he should get the job on a permanent basis. For this conversation tonight, I will have, of course, the one, the only Mr. B. But if you do want to give us your views on the other matters that I gave you quickly in summary, please do put them in the comments after the show, because we may do a show about that in the future. And if we have your feedback, we can actually talk about those concerns that you may have. But Mr. B, you're very welcome. It is a Tuesday of Champions League football. You've got a smiling young fella at home with you. Can I ask you, though, why is he supporting Juventus and not the one and only great and true club that is Manchester United?
He does. Apparently, they're his second team. He was told in no uncertain terms that he can't support any other English team. So he drifted. He drifted over to the Juve side of the situation. To be fair, but no, fair play. He keeps me educated. You know, me in Italian football, it's not my favorite, but yeah. No, he's happy at the moment. He's happy at the moment. 2-1 up against Galatasaray in Galatasaray. So yeah, he's happy at the moment now.
Yeah, very good. But let's get into the meat and bones of today's show, and that is Mr. Wayne Rooney. So there's going to be a couple of quotes from the overlap. Then, as a follow-up, we have some interesting quotes about Mr. Jonathan Woodgate and what he's doing in training. And finally, the Telegraph have posted an update with regards to the managerial hunt. So we might have a quick peruse of that and then sum it all up at the end. So, Mr. B, let me just take you through a few of these now very, very quickly. So what Mr. Wayne Rooney said was, we talk about Luis Enrique and stuff, and I think United have been there and tried different managers between Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, the likes of Ten Hag and Amrin, which have not worked. I just think for me, it kind of makes sense to stick with Carrick. I felt that from the minute he was mentioned of going in, not because obviously we played together and we're friends. I think he's a real calming influence. I've got two boys in the academy. I spoke to them about this a lot, and there was a massive disconnect from the academy and the first team. Whether people say that's right or wrong, and immediately that's what we've seen is the connection has come back together, which Manchester United has been known for. It was known to be a family club, and Michael's done that actually in a very short period of time. And we're seeing the first team coaches and the academy games. And there's been interest in the academy. So your thoughts initially on those first couple of quotes, Mr. B?
First thing you say, he said he's his friend. So he's not going to criticize his friend. The fact that they used to, share a car to sleep in. Means that he's got that connection. What he did say, I do remember him saying under Amrin that he was worried with the direction the club was going in regards to the connection to the youth team. So obviously he's happy that that's come back. It's just strange how this can be done in such a short space of time. I mean, did he not respect the youth setup? Because obviously, they're talking about Carrick going to watch the maybe saying youth games. I'm going to assume it's the under 18s and under 21s. Wasn't Amrin doing that before? I would have just assumed that that's what he would have been doing to try and find, players to fit into gaps. So it's strange that part of it has come out. But look, he talks about it being a calming influence. Anything was calmer than what it was, Rebel. Let's be honest. So I think there's a bit of bias to the points that he's making. Obviously, I kind of agree with him, to be fair, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and say maybe he's coming. I mean, it's only been 5 games. You know, I understand we've all been giddy, and maybe this pause has made me, you know, sort of come down a little bit, or maybe it was the last result that we got. But it was going to be interesting once this honeymoon period is over, however long it lasts. You know, I still think it's not a bounce. I still think it's actually down to coaching, but we'll see further down the line, I suppose.
Absolutely, Mr. B. Yeah, we have to take game by game and see how we're looking at the end of the season. I think it's 12 more games to go, so that'll give us a good picture of where we're at. And just a quick hello to Vincent Bullock, who's reminded us that it is, of course, Pancake Tuesday. So for those of you that are tucking into your pancakes, bacon, or your Lebanon sugar, or whatever way you take your pancakes, enjoy them. And be sure to stay with us here on the Man United Agenda. Please do like, share, subscribe. So comments number part 2. I was there with Michael, our boys in the same academy team, and we used to sit in the car and have a sleep in the car park, the 2 of us. You have 2 players that are very experienced, that know the football club. Just even someone to come out and say, can we have 10 minutes with you just to have a word, just to see what you feel about the football club? And I really believe people might agree, might disagree, greater. Having someone in there that knows the club, cares about the club, it makes a big difference. So he's basically saying that himself and Michael used to be basically sitting out the under-8s, the under-12s, whatever ages their boys are at this stage. And the connection with the club and I suppose the ethos in the club, does that have a lot to do with the way things manifest out on the football pitch? Because we sometimes kind of look at footballers as these rich multi-millionaires earning hundreds of thousands of pounds per week. But do we need to really start paring it back, as Wayne suggested, and actually have the connection and look at it as a football family rather than just being numbers on the balance sheet?
Yeah, but then that comes down to how the manager or the coach, in our case, wants to come across. I mean, it's chalk and cheese how the last manager and obviously just the interim now at the moment are going around their business. Maybe he saw everything that was wrong in the last regime and said he's going to do something completely opposite. Maybe this is his style. You know, we talk about, you know, we wanted somebody who maybe worked under Fergie to have that discipline, but surely this is instilled from the manager. Look, the fact that he's been there already, he's got that level of respect anyway. So I think he's got a little jump start in regards to players and what he did. So they're always going to have that respect for him. But I mean, look, after, you know, they'll see him for what he is. If he's no good, I mean, Ollie, you know, we realised after a very short period of time that maybe he wasn't as great as he was. I just feel that, as again, I keep saying that this is a different situation here, Rebel.
Very true. And I suppose Wayne Rooney does have a bias and a vested interest in the club, so we do have to bear that in mind. Obviously, one of his sons is doing very well in the age category that he's playing for the club and could potentially be a Manchester United starter someday down the future. You never know. But I suppose the views of former players, the likes of your Roy Keanes, your Rio Ferdinands, your Paul Scholes, all those players, Gary Neville, that talk about the club week in, week out, they're going to have a skewed bias and they're going to compare it to the times that they were at the club. But external to what Rooney said, there has been a lot of credit for one of his coaching appointments. And it's not Mr. Holland, who has gone down with great aplomb at the club by all accounts and is seen as an absolute steal to be brought in. It is actually to do with Mr. Johnson Woodgate.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. So Woodgate has impressed members of United's backline with his work ethic and personalised coaching. The former England international takes Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez aside to work on their aerial duel-winning abilities, including at set pieces. Even the younger members of the defence have received individual coaching sessions from the former Middlesbrough boss, with Aidan Heaven and Lenny Yoro learning the tips and tricks needed to win 2-on-1 duels. Sources have watched Woodgate on the grass say he's a brilliant defensive coach. At United, Woodgate takes centre-backs Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez aside during pre-match warm-ups to drill them on their heading. Woodgate also has Maguire and Martinez jostling with each other to win aerial duels. And away from the cameras, Woodgate and Johnny Evans have worked with Lenny Yoro and Aidan Heaven on their techniques in drills. So that seems to be a resounding positive for the way that he kind of approaches coaching.
Yeah, it does. I'm all for defenders teaching defenders how to defend. I mean, wouldn't you know? All right, he played for Leeds, but he was an England international, and he did go to Real Madrid. All right, he was injured while he was over there and didn't play as much games. But the fact that Real Madrid actually came in for him and bought him, there has to be a level of defensive nous there. Long may it continue. As I said, long may it continue. I mean, look, we've got we obviously don't have a forward coach. Maybe they don't need that, but defensively, I mean, you could do a lot worse than having Woodgate teaching them how to defend, I suppose. I mean, do you see there being a difference? And do you see a difference defensively in the way that the players are defended?
Well, I suppose when you look at the games that we played today, obviously we've shipped quite a few goals, and the transformation isn't going to take place overnight. But it does look like we're not as panicked at the back, doesn't it? Since they've come in, and they're being progressively, getting more sound-footed as the weeks go on. So obviously, this is going to be a long-term build in terms of the effect that training will have. But if you're getting glowing references coming out of training, that does suggest that there's a positive in regards to the way that they're going about it. And hopefully we'll have similar in our midfield and striking, because as we know, Michael Carrick wasn't afraid to pick up the phone to Dimitar Berbatov to talk to Benjamin Seshko. So these are the kind of things that we're hearing about coming out of the club. So as I said, if they continue on the vein that they're going and we see improvement week in, week out, that has to be positive. But I just want to say a quick hello, Vincent Bullock, Stephanie Griffiths, I Am Titanium. Who else is in here? Bilal and MUFC Brummert. Also, a big hello to you. We are kind of rapidly moving through the content of today's show. But I am going to bring this up before we go into the last bit. How many coaches do we need? Do we want too long before we have a coin tossing coach for Captain Bruno? Oh, Stephanie.
Look, I as I said, I'm all for let them all learn their separate jobs, and it all molds into one. I'm not going to knock it, Steph. I'm not going to knock it.
But I suppose that brings us finally to the Telegraph. And I'm just going to knock off the chat there for a second. Where's that button? Because there's quite a bit in this. I will summarise. Manchester United are undergoing a full recruitment process for their next manager and consider all available options. This is despite Michael Carrick's stunning start in the job, putting him in the frame for the role. It is understood that United want to take their time on their next appointment and get it right. They are reluctant to have any knee-jerk reactions due to results. Mike McGrath of the Telegraph notes it is likely that Carrick will be in the process, but others will also come into the picture as time goes by. On the appointment process, United will compile a shortlist of candidates once they have determined suitability and assessed availability. And they expect there to be multiple rounds of interviews, followed by managers inviting to make a presentation on their coaching style, philosophy, and assessment. This really does look like it's a formal job interview that me and you go through, where you're demonstrating competencies and whatnot. I'm going to ignore the last line because obviously that particular individual is in his own hot water as to whether or not he will be involved in the process. But your thoughts on the Telegraph's pretty much non-story, from what I can tell here.
Look, they're gonna put it out there. Rebel, you and I both know that Carrick's gonna get the job. I suppose there's a few people in the chat who think Carrick's gonna get the job. This is just I think this is just putting it out there to say that yes, they're gonna be doing this, yes, they're gonna be doing that, but I think it's all a charade. I think it's all a charade. There's no way Carrick gets Champions League football and they go and employ somebody else. It makes absolutely no sense to them whatsoever. I just think this is all hype. This is all talk, Rebel. You're going to tell me differently, right?
Well, I think when you look at it, you're going to have to kind of, I suppose, have a competitive interview process. The fact that Carrick is doing well and the fact that Carrick could very well deliver Champions League football will obviously stand to him in that process and will probably give him an advantage because he's the man on site. He's got his coaches on site and he's able to give real-world application in the interview process as to the way he would approach Manchester United Football Club. Like the quality of coaches, kind of looking back at our recent appointments, Ruben Amorim was seen as the hot manager in campus at the time, was sought after by multiple big clubs. He failed at Manchester United Football Club. Erik ten Hag delivered 2 domestic cups. Again, was seen as the hot shit in managerial world when we were seeking to appoint him. He was wanted by Man City. He was wanted by Arsenal. He was wanted by all the big clubs. He pretty much failed at Manchester United Football Club. We've had Jose. We've had other season campaigners like Louis van Gaal. We've had the domestic hotshot, aka David Moyes, replacing Fergie directly all those years ago. We've done every single type of managerial appointment you can imagine. Now, obviously, everyone's going to compare Michael Carrick to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The bounce, the goodwill factor, just a lifting of weight. It remains to be seen if there's going to be similarities to that. But the reports we're seeing with regards to training, we did not have those reports, if I recall correctly, when Ole was the interim manager. We weren't hearing about all these great training drills, how he was impressing the squad. Maybe there was certain areas reporting that, but I think we've had the fancy up-and-coming foreign manager. They failed at United. We've had the elder, experienced head at United, the serial trophy winners. They didn't last long-term. Jose, you could argue, was due to mismanagement upstairs. But the rest of them, they haven't really hit the mark. So there's a lot of positives in Michael Carrick's favour if he continues on the vein of form that he is currently. If the buy-in from the squad continues the way it is currently, it would be very hard to see anybody beating him in a competitive process.
Agreed. As I said, it just comes down to show. It just comes down to show, Rebel. Let him continue these jobs silently. Yeah, there's going to be hiccups along the way. It's just how we react, isn't it? We're going to lose our mind, Rebel. That's what we do. You know what I mean? We're happy at the moment. We're happy with him, but we have to see the other side of it to see if the players are really on board, whether he's really got the tactical nous to move us on. Let's be honest. Champions League's a completely different animal. It's not like the Europa where you can have 2 squads. You can play, half of. You've seen it. Newcastle are struggling. Tottenham are Tottenham, but they were still in the Champions League. You have to have 2 players for every position, at least a certain level, and we are so far off that at the moment. So I think it needs to be smooth until the end of the season. I'm all for the Carrick bus from now until the end of the season. And to be fair, I'll be more than happy, especially if we said it, Rebel. we say in the chat, if he gets us Champions League, I don't see anybody else getting a job.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Let's assume Champions League. Let's assume it's third place. Let's go crazy for a minute. We don't care whether it's third, fourth, or fifth, obviously, but let's just say it's third place. He's firmly in the frame for the job. And the caveat is Steve Holland has been picked up by somebody else, and Jonathan Woodgate gets a chance at managing in his own right in a lower league championship club. Does it have the same attraction without his backroom team?
No, but surely, if they know, look, Man United is the pinnacle. Let's not get it twisted. I'm sure Holland would be quite happy to be assistant coach or assistant whatever he is to Carrick at Man United, along with Woodgate. What were they doing before? They weren't doing anything. You know, I'm not saying they weren't doing, as in employment wise, they weren't doing anything. They're not going to get any better than the job they're in. So I don't see Woodgate and, you know, Holland going anywhere else. The problem is if United don't tie Carrick down and he impresses, I mean, we're hearing about Tottenham. I mean, Tottenham might be interested. Tottenham might offer him a job. You know what I mean? Then what happens? So I think that United have to still be mindful of somebody else coming in and maybe giving him an offer that maybe say he can't refuse. But I don't see him going Tottenham over us. But if we're not going to give him a job, he wants to be employed. You know? Fuck off. Oh, Rebel. No wonder he's so quiet. Oh, my son. Oh, shit, man. No wonder he's so quiet. Oh, bless him.
I'm sorry, young Mr. B. I had to do it. It's the rebel in me. But
oh, wow. Oh.
Interesting times ahead. Obviously, Mr. B, you will be back on possibly Thursday. And definitely Friday. I'd imagine you're going to light the fire under any Spurs fans that happen to join you about their managerial appointments, because that one looks like it's an absolute cluster muck, for want of a better word. There's obviously going to be the Premier League weekend is going to be returning with Manchester United playing on Monday. I still don't get why we were the last game of that weekend. Surely it would have made sense with the big gap that we had. But yeah, Arsenal, I think, are playing midweek. So I do want to ask you quickly, and this is surrounding fixturing. And it's an issue that comes in every year with regards to the way fixtures are structured. Because of the Cup semi-final that the Gooners are in, they are being given an obscene advantage in that they can extend their lead over Manchester City by playing their game in hand early. And I think it was Sir Alex Ferguson always said, the points on the board are worth far more than games in hand.
Yeah, but they haven't won the game yet, Rebel. Imagine if they don't win the game. You see what I mean? You talk about having the right. You talk about them having the advantage. It might not be an advantage. You know what I mean? Their players are dropping like flies at the moment. Let's not get it twisted. So you know, the longer, the more games they have, you know, in this short period, yeah, build them up. It's all right. It's all right. It's going to plan.
I'm just going to quickly highlight a few comments. Backroom team going nowhere anytime soon. They got a great chance to be part of a successful team. He's also saying, I presume that's Baliba rather than Balde, but you might want
No, it's Balde. No, it is Balde from Barca.
Oh,
apparently
really?
They're looking to see if they can is Barcelona broke. It's like they don't want to spend the bargain money that Rashford is on them. But they're trying to work out to see. Obviously, maybe they've offered him. I'm not sure if we've looked at him, but yeah, that seems to be part of the thing at the moment.
Oh, left back. We could do it one of them if he's any good.
There you go.
But do stay tuned tomorrow, because a man in the chat, we deserve better. WDB, as he's known, will be coming on, and he will be facing a raging tidal wave of yabativity as they host whatever topic of the day comes across their mind tomorrow. I would be curious about what We Deserve Better thinks of the impact on a certain Ginny Boy's actions on the club, not the political side. Maybe Yabba might ask him those hard questions tomorrow. But stay tuned, keep your eye on the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and subscribe. Yabba dabba doo, we are out of here. Good night.